Hi, this is Miss Logan. Today I'll be going over Unit 1, Part 2, which will cover metric prefixes and dimensional analysis. Just some reminders, make sure you're watching and taking notes. Remember that you can pause, rewind, and fast forward this video. When you're done, you need to complete the Google form and then click Done in Google Classroom. So what do all of these countries have in common? Well, we use something called the standard system. All right, so what do the United States, Myanmar, and Liberia have in common? Well, we use something called the standard system. And the standard system consists of inches, feet, yards, just to name a few. However, the rest of the world and the scientific community uses the metric system. So the imperial system or the standard system, our proportions are not equal. There are 12 inches in a foot, but then there are 3 feet to a yard. In the metric system, we're going up by tens. For instance, there are 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram, and then there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So we're always going by tens in the metric system. All right, so some basic SI units that we'll use in this course. The first one is for length. We're going to use meters. And this is just the distance between 2 points. Then we have time, and that's seconds. And that's the duration between any 2 occurrences. And thus we have mass. The standard unit that we use in physics is the kilogram. However, our base unit is just the gram. So here are our metric prefixes. We will be giving you a copy of this and going over this in class. So if you'd like to jot it down, you can. However, we will be giving you your own copy. A couple things I want to know. First of all, this is our base unit right here. And this would be meters, this would be grams, this could be seconds. There's a lot of different base units that we can use in the metric system. Now, if we need to express something larger or smaller, instead of just writing out 100,000 meters, I could instead use a prefix, okay? So, how can we actually use this table? So first, if we look at the left side, I'm going from a small unit, so down here, maybe I'm going from pico to nano, pico or nano, and I'm going to a larger prefix. So here, I'm going to be moving my decimal point to the left. So moving my decimal point to the left. My number is going to look like it's getting smaller. On the right side, the opposite thing is happening, okay? So I'm going from a larger unit, so maybe I'm going from mega, and I'm going down to milli, okay? So my number is going to get larger, and I'm going to move my decimal to the right. Like I said, we'll give you this in class, we'll go over it. Often these tables will look a little bit different from each other. They might be horizontal instead of vertically, or they might be flipped. All right, so just let's take a moment to practice with this. So take a moment to pause this video. You might need to go back, and I'd like you to put each of these different words into their prefix and their base unit. All right, so for nanometer, I have a nano and a meter, so I'm going to have NM. Megasecond, it's a capital M, MS. Centimeter, I'm going to have CM. Picosecond, I'm going to have PS. And terabyte, I'm going to have TB. All right, so let's dive in with converting with metric prefixes. Now, as I talked about on the other page, if I'm going from a small unit to a large unit, I'm moving my decimal point to the left. But if I'm going from a large unit to a small unit, my decimal point is moving to the right. Okay? So for the first one, I'm going from centimeters to millimeters. Okay? So I'm going to move to the right, and we see right here there's only one space between these. So in 1 centimeter, I'm going to have 10 millimeters. All I did was move my decimal point over 1. Next one, I'm going from mega to terabyte. So I'm going from mega to tera. I'm going to move over my decimal point. How many spaces? Well, I'm moving to the left, and I am going over 6 different spaces. Now, there are 2 different ways to write this one, okay? The first way is I can just move over my decimal point, and I can move it over 6 times to the left. So I'm going to 0.000001. However, that doesn't look that great. Another way I can do this is 1 times 10 to the negative 6. Why is it negative? I'm moving to the left, and my number is getting smaller. All right. So my next one, I am going to look at terabyte to gigabyte. So take a moment to pause this video and work through this one yourself. All right, so I'm going from tera to giga. So I'm moving my decimal point to the right, and I can write this one as 8,000. Remember, my decimal point starts here. Or I can write 8 times 10 to the third. Why the third? Between these two, there are 3 spaces. All right, I would like you to pause this video and work on the last 2 problems yourself. All right, so let's talk about my last 2 examples. So I'm going from nanometer to meter. So I am starting at nano here, and I'm going to my meters, okay? I'm going to move my decimal point to the left. I am getting smaller, so I can do 5 times 10 to the negative 9. Remember, I'm looking right here. Last one, I'm going from kilo to milli, okay? I'm moving my decimal point to the right, or I am getting larger. So between these, I'm going from 10 to the third and 10 to the negative third. So there are 6 spaces in between these, so I can do 20 times 10 to the 6th. Or I can move over your decimal point, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Okay, so dimensional analysis is when we are converting one unit to another. So it takes us 4.8 miles to get to school. How many kilometers does it take? So the first thing that we need to think of is our conversion factor. So a conversion factor says 1 unit equals another unit. So this one is 1 mile equals 1.61 km. We will be giving you common conversion factors, and you can look them up. So how do we set these guys up? Well, whatever we're starting with always is written first. Please make sure you include your units, or it's kind of tough to do dimensional analysis. So now I have 1 mile at the bottom. I'm putting my conversion factor right in here. My 2 units always need to cancel in the diagonal or the top and bottom. Then I'm going to put my 1.61 at the top. Okay. Now I'm converting to kilograms, so I'm actually done at this point. Now when I am multiplying across, anything that's next to each other is multiplied, and top and bottom is divided. So for this answer, I'm going to get 4.8 times 1.61 equals 7.73 kilometers. Okay, so let's do a couple example problems with each other, and then we'll spend a lot of time in class working on this. So my first one is how many meters are in 55 miles. So I'm going to start out with 55 miles. And remember, we're going to meters. I always like to circle what we're going to. It kind of helps me remember. So in 1 mile, there are 1760 yards, okay? So at this point, I'm not done. I need to convert my yards to my meters, okay? So in 1 yard, I have 0.9144 meters. Remember, with these conversion factors, like I said earlier, we'll be giving you a list of them, and you can always look them up if you're not sure. So as a reminder, I'm multiplying across. If I had anything at the bottom, I would be dividing. So I am going to get 8,851.392 meters. So that's 88,500 13 meters. Okay, this example right here we'll worry about in class. We'll do a lot of different examples for dimensional analysis over the next few days. So as a reminder, please make sure you took notes during this flipped lesson. You need to complete the Google form and then click Done in Google Classroom.